Welcome to the Foray Music Podcast. I'm Charlie.
I'm Bethany.
I'm Allie.
I'm Amy.
On this week's pod, Taylor Swift dominates the Hot 100. Performing arts platform Stagetime debuts. Rihanna honors Chadwick Boseman. New music and more. I almost blew it.
We made it.
We did it. First off, what's new? What's on y'all's mind? Oh, we do have someone new. Welcome, Bethany Vaughan. Insert applause. Bethany is a trumpet player and currently studying at Northwestern University as a master's student, and she's like the best human, one of the best humans I know, one of the smartest humans I know.
Aww.
So happy to have her here with us. What's on your mind, Bethany?
Well, thank you for that marvelous introduction, Allie, sorry. What is on my mind is that I am glad that Halloween is over because I was the one tasked with being the mastermind behind 2 group costumes for the Master's Trumpet Studio at Northwestern. And while they turned out immaculately, we got some amazing pictures. The amount of time and brain bandwidth I don't know, involved was a lot. So yeah, we were M&Ms because we are MMs, Masters of Music, and then there's 7 of us, so we went as Snow White and the 7 Dwarves, and our professor, the former principal trumpeter of the Philadelphia Orchestra, was Snow White, as you would expect.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
that's what's new
gosh.
with me. That was today, so I had a lot. Technically, it's the day after Halloween, I know, but that's just when we had our studio class. So.
Did anybody else dress up as anything? I wore like a Packers sweatshirt, and that was like my big thing. I'm like football fan.
I love
Amy,
that.
what
I was
did you
about to
dress
make a
up as?
burn.
Yeah.
I'm not super into Halloween as much as I'd like to be. I think I mentioned that last week, but I dressed up as a hippie because I wanted to wear something cute in quotes. And my friend was very frustrated with me that I wasn't going to dress up. So I wore like the glasses and the bandana, and I was a hippie. And then on Halloween, I went out with a friend, but I didn't feel like dressing up either. So I didn't. But last night, Halloween in New York City is crazy, bro. I should have known. Man, that's a whole other podcast because that was insane.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
The number of adults that were dressed up, I was like, never thought about it like that. Like Halloween to me was people trick or treat in our neighborhood as children.
This was my first time seeing trick-or-treating in like New York. And
Yeah.
like it's not like you go up to people's houses and go trick-or-treat. Like literally you go to the deli.
Yeah.
And the deli's like, here's candy. And you're like, whoa. Or like
Here's
people are
some
sitting
baklava.
or
No,
like people
that
are
happened
s-
here too. I was
Really?
at a Venezuelan place and some people came and they gave out churros. I was like, dang,
Wow.
this is way
I
better
love
than
that.
one like thing of those gumdrop things. What were they called?
Dots.
Dots? Yeah. Worst candy. Hot take maybe. I don't know.
No, they were.
I'm with you.
I did not like dots.
I liked Milky Way.
I'm not a fan of chocolate. Sorry.
It's okay.
Anyways.
So everyone's kind of
So-
stoked that Halloween's over. We put up a poll actually on our Instagram, on the Foray Instagram. That was basically just like, are you excited that like when are you going to start listening to Christmas music or like holiday music? And 75% of people I think said like basically right now, and
Yes.
then 25% said not until Thanksgiving, and then nobody said December 1st. I was kind of surprised.
Oh my gosh.
Those people are haters. And Foray,
I'm in the
doesn't have
post-Thanksgiving
haters.
camp. But then every year,
Thanksgiving.
inevitably, I'm like, man, I feel like I barely got to listen to Christmas music this
Yeah.
year. But on
Yeah,
principle,
yeah.
on principle, into the Macy's parade, Santa comes, that's when the season arrives. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
When do y'all put up Christmas trees? I do it the day after Thanksgiving.
Oh wow. Well, we used to go cut ours down, so always like
Oh, yeah,
depended on breaks and like whenever.
Wow, they bougie.
Usually December. No, we would go to this cute farm called
We used
Stokey Farms upstate and literally cut it down.
Oh my
We used
gosh.
to pick ours up at Lowe's.
We got ours out of the attic because it's fake.
Cool.
I like that.
We
Charlie,
went
what
in the
do you
attic
do?
and cut down a Christmas tree from the attic. Well, enough about Christmas because we're gonna get there for sure. We're gonna
Eh.
probably we're gonna blow it out for the holiday season.
Yes.
What's been
I
on
think it's
your
my
mind, Charlie?
yeah. Well, I've
Oh,
been I was gonna go next, so that's great that you asked. Thank you so much. I've been thinking a lot about underrepresented composers, and there are a lot of requirements that are that are kind of cropping up for that, and at some of the places that I teach, we're thinking about doing some of that. I think like doing some adding some requirements or recommendations or something along those lines, and so I've been just thinking about it a lot this week, just like polling some other like college professors and stuff. It's like a very complicated topic, and a lot of people have like really strong feelings about it, like what that even just like what the definition of that should mean, and like who's included, who's not included, and all of that kind of stuff. My basic I have a very broad definition of it, and I like for me it's kind of like basically anyone who's not like me, which is like white cis male, is kind of like I kind of think that that's probably underrepresented, like in terms of composers, especially that are things that are done in schools, which is like a very different thing, like. And we talked about this a little bit when there was like the new standard, like the Terry Lynn Carrington book, where it's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of music that's written by black composers or female composers or Asian American composers, but it's like they're not really like it's not accessible. The music isn't accessible, and like the pedagogy isn't there. Like there hasn't been like 40 years of people teaching that stuff and like just kind of getting
yeah.
like getting that muscle grown. So like for me, I think it's important not necessarily I don't think we're going to like necessarily change the world by like requiring that students sing or play music by underrepresented composers like in one fell swoop. But I do think it's like an important conversation starter, even if it's kind of like, oh, I don't like that idea. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. Like, why don't you like it? Like, what does that make you feel? Like, why are you reacting in this kind of way? So that's kind of like a very small little nutshell of like of that topic. But I think Bethany, before we were recording, you were mentioning that this kind of thing is kind of cropped up a little bit in your world too. You have some
Yeah,
experience with
I
it.
was just talking about it with my brass quintet today because we're looking into applying to the Fish-Off competition, which is the biggest competition for chamber music in the country. And they have a requirement, I don't know if it's new this year or last year, I think it's pretty recent, that you need to play a work by an underrepresented composer in your audition. But they specify that the composer has to be, here, let me pull it up, a woman, Black, Hispanic, Latino, or whose heritage originates from Latin America. So like that excludes all Asian people of other East Asian or South Asian, and it kind of a Latino whose heritage originates from Latin America. I guess that means they can't be like from Spain. Yeah, so just interesting requirements for sure. And Chris, you were talking about how you think of someone that is an underrepresented composer needing to be not white cis male, right? I would agree with that, but I also think, at least in classical music, there are so many, so much of the rep we play is by white gay men that I tend to think of that being a very represented community as well. If you think of Tchaikovsky, Benjamin Britten, Chopin, Bernstein, just especially, in the arts community, especially, I feel like that is less of a criteria I really think about. So that was interesting that you brought that up.
Yeah, and that's popped up too because it's kind of like we want to avoid maybe like outing people. Like I don't think we're worried about people that were like born in the 1800s necessarily because they're not around anymore. But yeah, it is kind of that is an interesting. I think it kind of maybe depends a little bit too on all of that, but for sure, yeah, the like sexual orientation.
Yeah. My like one thing with it is that like people only go so far. Like it seems to be like for show, like very performative most of the times because like whenever like literally every single time like they're like in the jazz community, they say, oh, we should do something by a black woman or like a woman, and they automatically choose Mary Lou Williams. I'm not saying that Mary Lou Williams is not a goat, because she is a goat, you know, but like there are more people that you can choose from, you know. And I think that's what Terry was trying to show us. Like, yeah, Mary Lou Williams is a goat, but there are 101 other women plus 101 plus other women from all different types of backgrounds that can contribute to this music. I don't know. That's just my problem. Like, people are only looking to, oh yeah, check that off. Like we did the underrepresented thing, and so they're like, choose the most. Once again, Mary Lou Williams is a goat.
It sounds like she's represented well, at least at this point in time.
Yeah. Right. And you're just saying it's like not organic at that point. Yeah. Because it's sort of, I mean, I don't know if really any of it is organic. It is important, I think, to like lift other voices. But I guess your point is like,
there's more.
Do the research, make sure it's like for the right reasons, and like there's a intention and purpose behind the choice, like all these things.
Right. Exactly.
The vision is clear. That way you're honoring the person like well or something. Maybe there's a better word besides well, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. I think the danger is not doing anything, you know, like kind of keeping status quo going, because I think we can all agree that that's like not cool, and like that a lot of change needs to happen. And if this is not the way to do it, that's okay. But we have to do something, and we have to probably do a lot of different things at this, you know, be active in a lot of different kinds of ways. But it's fascinating. I mean, like some of the responses that we get about this, especially from like contemporary music teachers, is that like, oh, our students don't even like know the composers of these songs anyways. Like they'll say, you know, like it's like kind of like performed by versus composed by. And it's kind of like, well, let's have those conversations then. Like, what are we so busy doing otherwise than like than talking about?
Why would you need to know the historical context that a piece was written in, or anything about the composer? But is that supposed to influence how you play things? That's crazy.
Seriously, that's such a can of worms. Like, I get so annoyed. Like, I think that's something that shows through so clearly when somebody doesn't understand context. I'm not saying whatever. No, there's so many people who are like, you need to do this, you that. I'm like, I'm not on that camp either, but I just feel like, really, some people are out here with like no context. You know, they're like, and this is something I've worked really hard on. And they know like literally nothing about where it came from, where it's going, who wrote it, what it is. They're like, check out that pentatonic
three or four times a week. I'm like, well, you know, this is like a Stevie Wonder song, right? And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah.
No,
like,
no.
This is like a cover of this thing, or this is like a
Ew.
It's funny. Anyways, that's another big can of worms. But yeah, probably more on this. I'll probably write something about this and as I continue to develop my thoughts. But yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. Allie, what have you been thinking about this week? What's new for you?
This is so like not as heavy, but
neither is I talked about Halloween costumes, so I think you're good.
The Steve Lacy. I don't know. Okay, so y'all, sometimes I'm on TikTok. I'm on the TikTok, and this thing with Steve Lacy has gone viral that he's like not like nice, and I beg to differ. Like, I'm so sorry. Like the context is there. I mean, there are two incidences that I know about. One, there is a little bit of silence during, just like, you know, run of the mill, like everybody's ready, anticipating the next song, and one girl shouts, "Can you say hi to my mom?" And he's like, "Can you be quiet?"
She was FaceTime,
and starts singing.
She walked into that one. I'm just saying.
Like, I'm just like, you paid to see a show and see this man perform, and you want him to say hi to your mom like during the performance? Like, you think that's cool? Like, just when you like, and then another instance. Sorry, y'all. And then there's another instance where people were throwing stuff on the stage. He said, "Stop throwing stuff on the stage." And then I think person like was about to throw their camera, and like, or he's like, "Give me that camera," and he like threw it on the ground.
You can't say like the retaliation part is rude. I guess if you're actually retaliating, but like if someone is rude to you and you are short back to them, kind of in defense,
Yeah, I
feel like that's like kind of out to be like, well, he's rude.
it's just like a different, like for me, it's like a different generation of like concert etiquette.
Maybe, yeah.
You know, I don't know. I think at every concert there's like a way to act. I would never yell, "Can you say hi to my mom?" during a concert. Like that's not, you didn't pay to go
Yeah.
do that, and the artist is not performing so that they can say hi to your mom. Like,
Yeah, you didn't get a VIP ticket, bruh.
like save that for the signing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it depends. I mean, concert etiquette definitely depends on where you are. There are certain things like that, like don't yell in the middle of it, that are pretty much applied to every concert situation, I feel like. But at least here at Northwestern, all the trombones, like while you're applauding for the brass, the low brass, they the conductor tells them to stand. They'll do a Chewbacca noise, like all of them in the audience, like a. I can't roll my eyes, so that was kind of my approximation. Every time without fail, it's been a tradition in the studio. I don't even know how many years. But then one of them went to the Chicago Symphony. This was a couple years ago, and did that when their teacher like stood up at the end or something like that. And Muti, I think it was, or whoever was conducting, like turns around and like stares. Was looking, and then that person I think got a talking to the next time
Oh my
the professor saw them. That's like I feel like some of those details are wrong, but that's the gist. just funny. It's, maybe not.
Definitely read the room.
Yeah.
Yes, read the room.
Like, yeah, that just upset me that people are like attacking this man's personality or like his his character as a human, and like he's someone. Oh my gosh. Someone I took a screenshot of this. Let me not misquote them.
Receipts.
They said Steve Lacy being super rude to fans while also having the most mid music to exist. What? The most mid music?
That's gnarly.
Oh my gosh, who are you, my friend? Anyways, I got riled up when I saw that. I was so mad. Who are you, who is not even an artist, to critique somebody, like to say you think that you're that important to comment on this? Where is this main character energy coming from?
Where it's like all the stuff with Lizzo and the crystal flute that was James Madison's or whatever, and everyone's like, why is she allowed to play that? She's not qualified. It's like, who are you to say that? And also, she literally studied at college, like music.
Yes. I don't understand people. The audacity.
The worst sometimes.
The audacity. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna get so. I need to calm down.
Okay, while Allie's calming down, Amy, what's new for you this week?
Here's a soothing topic for us all. I started taking piano lessons. I've only taken one so far.
Yes.
But it went really well. And I just, maybe this is like a heavier umbrella topic, but just I've been needing like to pick a path because I sort of feel like I'm like in front of a forest and it's like really big and I'm kind of like overwhelmed by it, which to me is like the metaphor for like my entire career or something, like my entire life. And I know I've like picked a path by like moving to a city, having a job, this type of thing, but it's just been helpful to like try to make some specific shorter term choices in music of like how to be spending my time. So one of them was taking piano lessons. I've been practicing my diminished voicings, my half diminished voicings. And it's kind of fun like to revisit stuff because the way that the piano curriculum was, like I didn't have really the theory chops together to then be able to kind of just like get the muscle memory. Like it was already a mind puzzle for me to even like get to the voicing. So now that I feel more like in the groove, it's been pretty easy to practice. And now it's just kind of like getting it into my fingers. And I've been like playing piano like very regularly since the beginning of college. And I did take lessons when I was little, but my point is now I'm like in a different space. So it's cool to kind of revisit the nitty gritty when I actually feel like I can sort of like build something with it. So
love that.
That's me.
That's me, just staring at a forest.
Yep. I really do feel that way. Anybody else? Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I think I'm just like I have a blindfold on.
Oh yeah,
right now.
Alex came home from
take it day by day.
Yeah, I'm trying, but like Alex came home from a trip and I was like, and then I was thinking about this other thing and like I'm just like and I was saying all of these like huge realizations and she was like loving and listened. Anyway.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I
Do you
remember that now.
Then she goes, yeah, I don't remember like what I just said. Like my brain's not really here right now.
Yeah, that's
What a great listener.
No, but I felt listened to, so
No, I did listen. I just
You
couldn't.
did.
I couldn't.
we just
construct sentences.
it was too much. It was too much. Anyway. Day at a time.
One day at a time.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, why don't we hop into this week's newsletter? So, our newsletter this week was titled Every Day I Will. And our first A was written by Allie, and that's for Chadwick. So, what's this about, Allie?
Chadwick. So, as we all know, the new Black Panther Wakanda Forever is coming out, I think, in 10 days. And highly anticipated movie. I don't know if y'all saw the first one, but
Yes, in theaters.
Same. I saw it 3 times in theaters. I cried all 3 times. I was so happy. Whatever. Anyway, so everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Rihanna like left music. When is she gonna drop something?" And Rihanna dropped a single, "Lift Me Up," and it's her first release since her 2016 release, Anti, which we all love.
Yeah.
But they had like a interview, that's what it's called, and she said she only did this for Chad, like this is for him, and she's doing it because he was continuously giving to his community, and she felt this was her way of giving back to him. And I just think that's a beautiful way to like come back or return to her music. And I don't know, I love Rihanna. I love that. I think this came at a good time for her because she's like the premise behind the movie now is like, this is not a spoiler alert because everyone knows, but like in the movie, Chadwick's sister, I forgot her name, T'Challa's sister, she's now the Black Panther. And so like now it's just like to like Black feminism, which I think is super cool, and like being a mother and how, T'Challa's mother plays a big role in this. And Rihanna is now a mother. And I think Rihanna is a beautiful symbol of Black feminism because she's literally a self-made billionaire. She's like had 2 careers, one in music, or 3 careers, one in music, one in makeup, one in like clothing. She's like doing it all. But yeah, I think everyone should go listen to Lift Me Up. It's, I think, one of the best comebacks to music. She didn't have to put out a banger. She was just like, yeah, I'm going to put out this.
When you were listening to it, like it's not, but I have my money.
Yeah.
It's like pretty, not that that's not vulnerable in its own right. I don't know. No, but it's like more of like a vulnerable take, like, on what music can be.
Yeah, it's just like Rihanna raw.
Yeah.
I loved that. So yeah, I don't know. I think that was her beautiful return to music. Rihanna is back in music.
Welcome back, Rihanna.
I played this. I actually played this song in a voice lesson today with one of my students. Like I was like, "What do you want to sing?" And they're like, "Well, there's this new Rihanna song." I was like, "I know about it." And they were like, "Can I sing it?" And I was like, "Yes." And so we figured it out and played it and stuff. It's actually a great song for voice lessons because it's pretty straightforward. It's really only 3 chords in like slightly different like configurations. It's like a 2-5-1 basically in the key of A, and like singing wise, there's like some stuff in it because she like flips up into her head voice like later in the song. There's like some runny stuff, but then there's like some like thicker, lower chest voicey stuff, like belty stuff. So it's like technically there's like cool things that are like really straightforward to like pick out, and it's a song you can. I was like singing the harmony parts and stuff like when it came to that part because it's like those are kind of easy too and fun and like they feel really good. So it's kind of cool. Like talking about underrepresented composer. You can add this to your books.
And she co-wrote it with another woman, I think. Thames. We know Thames.
I don't.
Thames is
I've
cool.
heard the name, but yeah. Yeah, but super cool song. Looking forward to the
Yeah,
movie.
super cool.
Cool. And then Bethany, you wrote about the new digital performing arts platform called Stagetime that officially launched.
I
So tell us all
did.
about that.
So, where to begin? I'll disclaimer up front. I'm not really, I guess I'm kind of biased. I do some work for Stage Time as a college ambassador, which basically just means I like promote it on my campus kind of thing, help people sign up, that kind of thing. But I honestly, it's pretty minimal. And I only applied for it because I thought the concept was so cool and I thought it had a lot of potential. So basically, it's kind of, I feel like the easiest way to describe it is like a LinkedIn that's specifically geared for performers, whether that you're an arts admin person, you're an actor, you're a singer, etc. It was founded by an opera singer slash web designer, and she was designing a ton of websites every year for her colleagues and stuff, and just kind of realized, what if we just had one centralized place where people could have something equivalent to a website that's free, so it's accessible to everyone, and then but they're all kind of interconnected, and so that's why she founded Stage Time. And basically, it lets you kind of create what is basically a mini website. So you can upload, headshots. You have a profile picture, your bio, a shortened one and a longer one, resume, CV, videos of you playing, audio clips of you playing, and then you can connect with other people that you've collaborated with. And there's like a short feed. It's definitely not an endless scroll, but if someone you're connected with adds a performance to their schedule, that's something you can put to is like your upcoming performances. It'll show up on your feed. So it's a way to kind of keep track of all of your friends' performances, and also have all of your professional materials kind of in one spot. So if someone were looking for a trumpet player in Evanston, they could put in Evanston, Illinois, trumpet, and a list of all the trumpeters in the area would come up. They could look at those accounts, and if they saw something they liked, they could message them. So it has implications for contractors in that way. And I know people will be like, hey, I went to IU for undergrad, so like, do you know any violinists still at Indiana? I need someone for a gig, like blah, blah, blah. And I can give them a list of people I might know, or it could be like, well, you could type in Bloomington, Indiana, violin and Stage Time and, come to your own conclusions. And I also like it just because I get so many random requests on Facebook from brass players all over the world, mostly men, that I have no idea who they are, and just having to weigh but what if some professional opportunity could come out of this versus what if they're a creep and I don't know them, I don't really want them to have access to my personal info. So kind of separating the professional aspect from the personal. And from an equity perspective too, one of the other people that works there kind of wrote a blog post detailing this, but just the fact that with the gig economy, it's so much about who you know, where you went to school, if you went to a great school, and people from that really helps you with getting gigs. And oftentimes to go to a great school, many conservatories are expensive, don't have a lot of scholarship, and just to get good at your instrument in high school anyway, you have to have money to take lessons, get a good instrument, everything. Clearly, people that have more money are more favored in that environment to be able to go to a good school and make great connections. But there's still amazing musicians that go to places that aren't, Juilliard, or, that's the most extreme example. But to have a platform where everyone could be equally represented and someone could peruse everyone's things.
Yeah, level the playing field.
Yeah, exactly. And they've been giving out audition travel stipends that you can apply for. So they're trying to level the playing field in that way. And they're going to have a job board, I think, in the future is something they're working on. And I think this would be really cool. When you apply to a music festival like Aspen or Tanglewood or whatever, it asks for your info, like upload your resume, upload your bio, upload blah, 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 blah. What if they could just be like, put your Stage Time link here, and be like, it needs all these things, but a centralized process that would just kind of streamline everything. I think it has potential for that too. So I'm excited to see where it goes. It raised over $1.5 million of capital in their like fundraising stage. It's been in development for a couple years. It launched maybe about a month ago officially, and it's got, over 6,000 users. That was the number a week or two ago. I'm sure it's gone up since, but yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. So I thought I would share that just because I do think it's a really cool concept and I could see it taking off in a big way.
Yeah. Bethany like FaceTime me. She's like, "Can you sign up?" I was like, "Yes."
I was gonna say I want to sign up.
It's pretty cool, actually. And you can like Bethany's is really, I think she posted it on the Substack. So check out the
I
Substack if you
did,
want to
yeah.
see a really good profile.
It's
Because you can
beautifully
like,
designed too. You can tell the
yeah,
founder's
like
like a web designer.
the aesthetic part, you can make it your own aesthetic and like upload your own pictures. And like, I like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like, and then I was able to look up people like from UM or from Berkeley or like other jazz vocalists in the area, like see who I could like, just connect with. And it was honestly a good time. I was having fun. I'm excited for it too to like grow more so that it can really start. I think it has potential to connect like all artists and not it be like a competitive energy, you know what I mean? It's
No,
like,
definitely that networking thing.
yeah, like here's opportunities that we all can like choose from now. Now we don't feel like there's um just a special like VIP entrance for this gig
Mhm.
opportunity. Now it's like, oh yeah, now it's like, we can all eat.
It does prioritize professionalism too. I like that
Yeah.
because that's definitely something I've like just been weighing in terms of like making your social media a professional place, but also maybe a personal place, and then where that line is, and all those things. And as cool as it is to get opportunities because of like friendships that you make, I think it's also valid and equally cool to have sort of like this more professionally based uh you know like opportunity where maybe it's not, maybe you didn't know them until you connected professionally, but then it could be like a really cool opportunity.
For sure. And if you can't afford a website, it's a great substitute. And they're working
Oh
on something
yeah.
where you can put in a domain. I don't think it's launched yet, but where you can put in a domain name and it'll redirect to your stage time. So I could, make it if someone types in www.bethanytrumpet, it will auto direct to my stage time
That's
profile.
cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so yeah, but I feel like once it becomes mainstream enough and like everyone gets on there, it could totally be a game changer in a lot of ways. So I'm trying to get it to that point. So, because
Yay.
no more creepy old man brass player Facebook requests. You're
Oh,
not old,
absolutely.
Charlie.
I am so creepy though. I'm incredibly creepy.
Charlie.
We actually wrote about Stage Time on September 6th in our newsletter.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we highlighted the post by Sarah Kim, which you just referenced about the
One of my colleagues.
about equity. Yeah. So, yeah, I think this is a great idea. And like you said, like the cost of so like I think like 95% of a cost of a website is like the having it be published somewhere, like sitting on a server somewhere, and so like a domain is like really cheap.
Yeah.
You can get your domain for 10 years and it could cost you under $100 or something to reserve your domain. So yeah, I think it's really cool. And I'm all for like a non-monetized, like positive sort of like social network. I think, especially with what's happening with Twitter right now. I know probably none of you are on Twitter, but like rough times for Twitter. Rough times for Elon Musk, but but it's just rough times on Twitter right now. So it's like a lot of people are jumping ship. So this is great. Thanks for highlighting it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like I had one other thing to say, but now I forgot because I got excited that we had written about it. I was like, wait, that feels like a dream I had. It's like, nope, it was 2 months ago. It's like 2 months ago. Cool. And Amy, we're going to talk about new releases in a minute, but there was like one very special, very explosive release that came out in the last maybe less than a week ago. Was it last Thursday or something? Or last Wednesday?
I should probably know that.
I don't know.
It happened very recently.
A lot of my students were like staying up and they set an alarm for midnight and then they set an alarm for 3 a.m.
Man, Taylor
Dedication.
Swift, everybody. Yeah. Well, that's like one of the most interesting things. So first of all, I'll just say, so Taylor Swift released an album, and she deemed it a concept album. sorry, Swifties are going to be like, you don't know.
Yeah, we're about to get totally like
yeah.
lit on fire.
Yeah. So it becomes though the first album in history to occupy the entire top 13 on US Spotify charts for an entire week.
Crazy.
Which is insanity. Like, I do think it's super interesting how like marketing can make such a big difference for artists regardless of like what the art is, but somebody like Taylor is really cool to me because she has been relevant
For
to
a
her
long
fans
time.
and to not her fans like for so long. Since I looked it up and it was like I think it said 2000 like 4 5 6 was when she kind of like hit the scene. um but so I just think that's a feat because that is like she has grown this fan base for so many years, and those are like real people listening to an artist that they are obsessed with.
Yes.
And I don't want to like, man, I think Taylor Swift's cool. I'm not a Swiftie. I can't claim to be, and I never will be. Like, I'm not somebody that's like, and then she said this on this date. But like, just the way she's carried her career has sort of maintained her this super dedicated, excited audience that's like so invested in the way that she presents her artistry. And so I think it's like a really dope, like a really dope thing that that's so cool. All of her songs in the top like spots. That's so cool.
That's crazy.
And she keeps
So
pivoting genres too. She's like done it all.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was thinking about that too. She's just evolved through so much.
Yeah.
Through genre shifts, through like different focuses of the mainstream music.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and she's just kind of like done it, like grown up.
That's
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. She's evolved.
Yeah,
with
and you talk about the
everything.
marketing thing. It's like on her website it had like the big countdown. You know what I mean? Like even now it's like the countdown, but it's just like all zero. And it's just
I love that.
it's like almost like Apple, it's like she's kind of like the Apple of music or something in a way where it's just like this is when it's releases, like this is the date and everyone like lines up outside the Apple store. And like
one of my friends was literally in line for like a pre-sale. It was like a pre-sale type of vibe.
Yeah.
Like she's like, yeah, I gotta wait because I want to go see her on tour. Because
she just released all of her tour information. I think like today or yesterday.
She
or
hasn't
something.
been on tour in like 4 years, right? Since 2018.
Yeah, and
I'm
everyone's
so
like,
stuck
okay,
on her having a website. Something about that to me, just like Taylor Swift has a website. Like, yeah, I guess people have to know when she's going on tour, but like everybody just knows stuff about her. She's constantly covered in the news and stuff. It's like, what does she need a website for? But
yeah, she should just be on Stagetime.
yeah, that's exactly.
She could save so much money. I think we were talking about that with like PJ Morton last week, right? Or 2 weeks ago, where it's like PJ Morton, like his website is like very, very basic.
So bad.
The Taylor Swift website is like it's like a product. Like she's like giving
deluxe.
I don't know. But like people were making jokes at the beginning of this week that it was like, okay, I need to like liquidate some stuff so I can buy Taylor Swift tickets. It's like I need to sell some stock or something.
Oh
I asked one of my students that today. I was like, are you going to sell stock? Because she was like talking about buying tickets. She's like, no, but my dad will. And I was like, okay.
We're going to sell Dogecoin.
Dogecoin, yeah. We get some
Oh my
Bitcoin going
gosh.
on. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, this is crazy. It's crazy though too because she is dominating like the Billboard and Spotify charts and stuff. But I wouldn't say that like I would say the majority of people I've talked to don't really like this new album, like musically and lyrically. Even like Taylor Swift fans, and like some people I know are like huge Taylor Swift fans, like stayed up and all that kind of stuff. Some of them have kind of been crickets since the album came out. You know what I mean? Like they were like, oh my God, it's coming. I'm so excited. And then it kind of came out and it's just like, I'm going on vacation, or whatever the kind of thing is. So.
I mean, I gotta be honest, when albums drop like this, I always want to check. I haven't listened to it yet. I've seen like the clips or heard the clips, the sound bites that are going viral on TikTok and stuff, but I always, maybe this is dramatic, but I like to have space for it so I can actually like think about it and like listen to it.
Yeah.
But that's interesting, like to look forward to something so much and then
That's how I was with the Kendrick album.
really
I was
the
like,
most recent one.
yeah. I was like, oh, I wouldn't listen.
Yeah, I was kind of
wouldn't listen.
underwhelmed with the new Kendrick thing. I mean, there were some
Yeah.
parts of it that I liked, but
But then I was also like that for the Beyonce album.
Ah.
And I was third. Some people hate it. They're like, Beyonce is mid. And I'm like, okay. And then I listened
no,
to that
that's
album and I
Steve
was like,
Lacy.
Yes, Steve.
and I was like, dang, I like this album. But
Some music like grows on you too. That's always
That's true.
fascinating to me.
that is true.
But
You
I
hear
think
it
it's
enough.
cool too that her, as much as she does market herself, like she, maybe this is shady of me, but sometimes I see things marketed that at least don't feel as authentic to me. I think that her artistry is like pretty authentic to who she wants to be as an artist. It's not like some industry like
Yeah.
pushed, you know, whatever. So I think that's dope. Like, yeah.
Interesting. I'm on her website right now.
Ooh.
Sorry, I was,
Wow.
but and I'm not a Swiftie by any means. You know, I've tracked the general progression and whatnot. You know, genre shifting, and some people are like, well, she's selling out by going pop and everything, but and then returning to, when she went all folksy with
Folklore.
what are they folklore, yeah, and the other one. See, I'm clearly know what I'm talking about. Like
You're on
somehow
her
that was more
website.
authentic. It's true. Well, I'm looking, so Midnight's available now, and there's 4 different versions of cover art and like disc design. And it's like collect all 4 editions. They've got it for vinyl and for a CD, and just that kind of thing. It's like that's clearly a money grab. Like
Oh,
it's the exact same
absolutely.
content, and she's already so rich and famous. I'm just like. That just is kind of weird to me. It's like, why does she feel the need to? Maybe she really just wants to satisfy her fans, and she knows some people are collectors and like having more stuff. I don't know.
Neat. Who buys CDs?
I've noticed more artists are doing that though, just having something physical because for them it makes
Feel
money.
tangible.
It's like one of the, but I don't know. I'm down for CDs, but there's not a lot of easy ways to like listen to CDs.
I liked
Except the way that you do, but you know what I'm saying. Relax.
CD
Charlie.
players, it's impossible to find those these days.
No, but
yeah,
you know
not
what I'm
even in
saying.
cars. They're not in
Archaic.
cars.
That is true.
Just, I mean, it takes a little extra effort, is all. We have a
You,
record player.
you can find record players more than you can find CD players.
I know, because
Yeah, that's such a switch.
vintage.
Yeah, we
Because
think we're
records
cool,
sound
they're
so much
funny.
better and warmer. I hear. I don't know how much I buy into that, but
I mean, with the Crossley record player, I don't think you're gonna get the warmth that you want.
It's not a hi-fi situation.
But then all these artists now release stuff on vinyl. It's like, yeah, let me pay $50 for this album on vinyl when I could get the CD for max 20, or just listen, pay $1 for a song I want on iTunes, or just have a Spotify subscription and not pay anything. Like,
It's crazy. Well, Charlie, your record player is so nice. I'd rather listen to something on your record player.
Yeah. I have a nice record player. I think, there is something to kind of like a collecting of that kind of thing. And I think like, in this kind of like postmodern digital world, like with the things we collect everything that's digital also kind of feels so worthless to us. I think, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, who knows if it's going to be around in 10, like there's a scenario in which is a phrase I get teased about a lot saying, but there's a scenario in which in 10 years, like Spotify isn't around anymore, or whatever, all these like sweet playlists you made to share with your friends are gone, like it happened for me on MySpace. Like when I was in New York in grad school, it was kind of like what Stagetime is now, or some of those things, where it was like what MySpace was. It was like you could like put your tracks up on it. You could like you had like connections and all of this kind of stuff. And you would message other people, and like you could actually get like gigs and work through it. And then it was just gone. It's like I spent hours and hours and hours like making my MySpace page like look really cool. And I know right now I sound like I'm like whatever, like Ben Franklin.
No.
It was like I made a great kite and I was just running around with my kite. It was awesome. Everyone loved me. But yeah, it's like we just don't know. And like it's much more likely that like vinyl is going to be around in 20 years than Spotify, which is kind of crazy.
definitely.
To think,
I
but
only got Spotify this year I'd like ever since streaming became a thing, partly on principle, just didn't do it because I was like, they pay the artist crap. I like owning my music. I would always buy everything on Apple or like just from the iTunes store, and everyone thought I was crazy. And I finally caved this year and did it. But I like understand the appeal of wanting to just tangibly have it, except that it was still digital, so it's not exactly tangible. Apple could be gone, and who knows if you're getting extreme with it, but probably not.
Yeah.
But I like that idea that I think like Biophilia and like Maria Schneider did it. They like give you a nice piece of work.
Oh yes.
But it's a QR code.
But she also had like this whole like
it's like a piece of art.
Yeah.
It's like you open it up and it's like this whole it's an experience. But instead of like a CD, you get like a code or something that you can then download the album onto.
Well, the point that she's already that Taylor Swift is already so like monetarily successful is like completely fair. I think also though that like doing something physical represents maybe something to smaller artists where they could like kind of have something to sell or to advertise themselves that is like physical and maybe either gives them a different monetary thing or like represents them in a different way than just like, oh, stream me, and then Taylor just kind of has like all of it. She gets like the streams and now she has like on her website all of these. It's just interesting.
Maybe she has like older listeners and they have CD players.
Maybe.
Or they have young people try to be young and hip. They're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna walk around with my like headphones and have my CD player from 1997 and I'm gonna be cool and I'm wearing my anyways, let me stop. Next thing you know, we're gonna have Walkmans again.
You reminded me of
cassette
my sister.
tapes.
She's like, I knew AirPods weren't here to stay. And now I was right. I don't sound like my sister right now, but she just has been commenting on how people are wearing wired earbuds again. Anyway.
Are they?
In New York, I've actually noticed it. She goes to art school too, so that might be like a subset of the population.
There's definitely a girl in my trumpet studio here that wears like the cheapest, styrofoam pads, look very analog, wired, but it's part of her aesthetic, kind of alt.
Yeah. Everyone's trying to, anyways.
I mean, you can go places and people will buy, like people are selling cassettes, like cassette tapes, of their music and everything. So I don't know. The AirPods, which we're all wearing right now, are
I think they're all the pros too.
Yeah, and this is like
Apple. If you're listening, endorse us.
Endorse us, yeah. But I think AirPods now are like a third or a quarter or something of all of Apple's revenue. Like it's
really?
like it's huge, yeah.
Because you keep on losing the dang left AirPod.
I did for a whole year, and then my roommate found it under my bed.
I had to buy a new one.
And here they are.
Nice.
Anyway.
Okay, let's move on.
You didn't check under your bed? I feel like that's the first place you should look. Let's move on.
No, I gave up though. It was the type of
they
thing
were in my ear the whole time. They just powered down.
It was like we were moving out.
Okay, so we had other new music besides just the Taylor Swift thing, which obviously dominated. There's some other things that did not dominate so hard this week, but that were maybe I thought were kind of interesting and worth mentioning. The first one is by a Guatemalan cellist and composer and singer and producer named Mab Frati or Mab Frati. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I also think I misspelled it, so I need to update that in the thing.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. So I'm winning the game. But I don't know if anybody else had a chance to listen to this, but 2 weeks ago we talked about like the timeline of like African American music that Carnegie Hall put out, and how like avant-garde jazz or something, or like avant-garde had like ended in the 70s. And this album is very avant-garde. So this is for people that want to have some kind of weird sounds. There's like combos of like just cello things and like weird sort of vocal sounds, and then like a lot of electronic-y kind of stuff. But it's very cool, and there's some like very cool moments. There's obviously like there's definitely some very like crunchy moments in it, but there are some very cool moments, like very pretty moments. The next thing is Laughing So Hard It Hurts from Mavi. Do we know about Mavi at all? Am I saying that right at all? No. I'd never heard of Mavi either, and it's very cool. I really dig this album. I actually like this album. We were kind of just talking about Kendrick and some other like hip hop albums and stuff that came out this year. Like, I actually like this better than that, maybe.
Really?
Maybe than the new Kendrick
I
thing.
like the production on this record, actually. I took a listen.
Yeah.
I think the beats are
I gotta
kind
check
of
it out.
cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of yeah. I think like I read that like someone described like his rapping as like kind of very conversational or something. Like it's kind of like low key, but I don't know if that's how you felt about it. Allie.
Conversational? Was he talking
No.
to you?
I
Not
said
really.
I had to be in a specific mood to listen to
Oh,
this
that was.
song,
Oh, I heard some of this from the other
to
room.
this record. I was like, I have to
Oh.
be in a very specific mood. But I think it is
Well, 'cause
conversational. It's like
We were saying how it's sort of like the type of music that's like it happens and it's just kind of like happening. Do you know what I'm
It's kind
saying?
of happening. Yeah.
You know what I'm. Anyways, yeah.
Maybe I don't know what you're saying, but
Well, maybe I don't know what I'm saying, but like it sort of just is like maybe it's not. It doesn't do this. This is an audio medium. What am I doing?
it's kind of
as
chill.
much
Yeah.
rise and fall. It's sort of just like we're chilling here.
I kind of feel that way about like the Mac Miller stuff, or at least some of the Mac Miller stuff, and I like that. It just is kind of it goes. Some hip hop stuff, I can tell that it's like cool and it's good and I like it, but it just is kind of like it can be kind of aggressive or something, you know. I guess any music can be like that, like definitely every kind of style of music. But a lot of the things that have come out recently that I've been like, oh, this is cool. Some of the things that we've talked about in past newsletters, I was like, oh, this is cool, but like this is like a lot. Honestly, I kind of felt that way about the newer Beyonce album too. Like it was just like the energy. It was just like a lot of like it just hit hard a lot. And I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this like at 8 a.m. driving to Boston. The album of these that I know the best is this the new album from Plains, which is a duo, and the album is called "I Walked with You a Ways" from Waxahachie. I've never said it. Waxahachie. Is that how you say it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's in Texas.
Oh, so it's like
Hey,
a Texas thing.
Texas.
Hey, Texas. Shout out Texas. This actually came out at the end of September, but we haven't really had a chance to talk about it. And it's really cool. It's definitely like it's a kind of more country-ish vibes. It's like the folky, kind of indie folky stuff that I like, but it's like definitely more country vocally kind of like tonally. But I like this and it was cool. And it's like, I think it's a really good vibe for fall, like kind of the general fall, not the Halloween fall or the Thanksgiving fall, but just the fall. So this was like a little bit more my speed too. So that was cool. And then obviously Taylor Swift had a new album out. So that's in the new music out. I feel like I kind of blew it. I was thinking about this today. I feel like I just kind of blew it in just talking about it because I don't think I made any of those sound interesting. They're all totally worth checking out, and I think probably for different people they'll be cool. But I would say I was thinking about this today. Like, I have a lot of other friends that are always like, and I have students that are, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then I have my friends that are like in our 30s or 20s or 40s. And it's like, I'm kind of like, is there anything new that came out that you liked? And everyone's kind of like, I don't know. I don't really listen to like that much new stuff, or it's just like hard to keep up with things. That's kind of like why we're doing this a little bit. But also, I kind of feel that like it takes me a while. I mean, I think, Allie, you were kind of saying this too, where it's like, it just takes me a while to kind of like get to a place with an album where I've kind of like actually listened to it, like an album, like not just like a single or something. And so it's actually been kind of like a challenge to like keep up with new stuff that's coming out and then like actually listen to it and like actually try to like check it out and like kind of understand a little bit of like what's happening or where it's coming from and all of that kind of stuff. Even just like a snapshot, like an initial impression. It's hard. And I feel myself wanting to be like, let me just go back to that Keith Jarrett album I like, or like, let me just go back and listen to like that Bon Iver album or something. You know what I mean? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, But there is something to this, like kind of trying to like try to keep current stuff kind of happening in your life, like musically, in any sort of art thing. You know, I think it takes a certain sort of mental space. So
Yes, absolutely.
great. Well, that's
Say it
basically the
again. You did
newsletter.
You did it, Charlie.
Thanks. I did it. I did it again. So the last little bit of our newsletter this week, the extra credit was the
I
30-day
love
challenge
this.
from Austin Kleon, who is the author of Steal Like an Artist and Show Your Work and all that kind of stuff. I thought this was a cute little PDF that he emailed out this morning to people that are on his Substack newsletter. But it's just the 30-day challenge. There's like a little box with like 30 boxes in it, like a little calendar. And it says, every day I will blank. And then after you do that thing on that day, you make a little check. And then it says, after 30 days, I get a taco dinner, my life back, a pony, and then whatever else you want to put in the thing. But this general idea, I think, is really cool and really important. And the quote that he had was that basically his advice to people who want to do something creative or like want to make something that they're maybe having trouble with making or that they haven't made yet is try sitting down in the same place at the same time for the same amount of time every day and see what happens. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to like do a thing and like do it great and like whatever, make a masterpiece. But really the hardest thing and the thing that most of us don't do as well is just like sit down and do stuff. Just kind of like chip away at it and be consistent. Being consistent is hard, I think.
There's a book called Atomic Habits that kind of gets into that. And like, well, I mean, with the check mark, checking something off, one, having a physical, like, you know, having something physical where it looks like we can see the progress that we're making through makes us more likely to do it. And also just the importance of, you know, if you're trying to get yourself to run a 5K or something, just go on a run every day, even if it's just around the block. Don't let yourself not do it at all or feel like it has to be some, you know, sub 5 mile time or, you know, something crazy. Just do it, you know, and put on your workout clothes because then you're more likely to actually go. Even, you know, just have like things like that part of the routine. So that's interesting. That's just what that made me think of. That was one of my winter break reads that I have not been entirely successful at implementing, but here we are almost a year later. It's fine.
We try.
It's fine.
Yeah, I actually listened to that on tape over the summer too. That book. I mean, another part of this too is like giving yourself like a little present, you know? And I think like, it's funny to me because it's like, even if I'm like, well, I was going to have tacos anyways. It's like, if I say to myself like, no, you're definitely going to get tacos and you're going to feel good about it or whatever that is, you know, it's like, oh, you're going to, you can buy a new book or something or whatever that you're going to give it a little present. And it's like, I was going to do that anyways, cause I'm a just unabashed capitalist, like consumer. Like I was going to buy a bunch of crap anyways, but it's like, oh no, I get it. And I don't feel bad about it at all. It was like my little gift. And I did like my little present for doing this thing.
I feel that, this is totally off topic, but I'm notorious for going to all the stores, finding stuff I like, getting to the checkout line, going back and not buying it and leaving after 3 hours of shopping with nothing. But if I feel because I'm so indecisive about spending money.
That happens. Yeah, I get that.
I thought you were about to say you do that and then find it online for cheaper and like leave the physical thing.
Oh no, but this seems like a great thing. Like every day I will blah blah blah, and then I can go to that 3 hours of shopping and like not, you know, like this. Well, I did this.
It's a very human thing too. Like I do this when I work with younger kids at camp or nannying or anything like that. Like it works to ask them to do something. You know, you get like a star and then you get a prize because it's like you get recognition for like working hard and doing it. And I mentioned to my mom, I didn't know if like the older kids would be into it. And she was like, well, I mean, I did that once. I was into it, you know, like she had done like a workout thing in that sort of way. And it was helpful. I think it's just like a human thing. Like,
feeling
like
rewarded.
Efficacy, is that the word? Like feeling like you can do things. I don't know. Psych. Anyways. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so that's the newsletter. So yeah, you can print out that little PDF or go to his website and get it there. But Amy, do you wanna? That's our newsletter. Amy, do you wanna read us out this week?
That I do. Thank you for listening, everyone, and supporting Foray Music. Please remember to like and subscribe. And just to note that if you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, it does help us out a lot, and we will highlight you in next week's podcast. For more, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Foray Music. Subscribe to our newsletter at foraymusic.substack.com and check out our website at foraymusic.com. Just one other thing, on the Substack, there are links and like pictures and all of these amazing things. So it can add context to like what you hear on the podcast. I just think they go very well together. So if you haven't checked one of them out, do it. Anyway.
Very cool. And I will say, Bethany, thanks for joining us this week. We're very, very lucky and happy to have you. Alex, what's our quote for, or Allie, what's our quote for the week?
All aboard the struggle bus.
Who said it?
John Legend.
Classic John Legend quote. Okay, we think you're super. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Can we get John Legend on this podcast?
I was just talking about that.
I'm Allie.
And my name is Amy.
On this week's pod, Taylor Swift dominates the Hot 100. Performing arts platform Stagetime debuts. Okay, we have to do that over. That was also it debuts. That was also like way too. I think I was in my head. I was like, should we do that over? Because everyone was like a little delayed.
Yeah,
like,
I forgot
Charlie.
my name.
It's like I'm Allie. Okay, let's do that again. Ready?
Yes.
Future Charlie, edit here.